all equal. It's time that we're all heard. Welcome to A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble. I hope you've been having a fantastic weekend, and thank you for joining us today. On today's episode, we have two fantastic guests talking about special applications for people with disabilities. But today, I have a very special co-host. Suzanne will be joining me for the intro of our show. Thank you for being on A Voice for All. So, being a teacher, how do you see the benefit of having these applications in your classroom?
Well, working for the Peel Board, all schools in September are going to be wireless, and they're encouraging BYOD, which is bring your own device. So with children with special needs, they can use applications to plan their daily schedules and routines, learning new skills, and for a number of other things such as going back to teaching new skills, so signs and sequencing and just growing and developing. And with using devices such as apps, there's no need for paper, and which is huge because it's such a waste of trees, and this way teachers and support staff can just look up different types of apps, and there's new ones every single day, just like the guest that you're going to have on, which is a great app that they talk about that is fantastic for kids. And one app that might work for one student might not work for another, so it's trial and error, and it's just
a variety as well.
Exactly,
too,
a variety.
Because I find even some of the students I teach, it's one thing to use flashcards and board games and things, but they're so fascinated by these tablets. You know, so now that there's apps that are available, you know, the world is wide open for them now.
Exactly, and students who don't have verbal capabilities can have apps that can help with verbal prompts and help them communicate. And some of my students who are functioning at a kindergarten level and below are amazing on different tablets, and they can just go through it, find the applications. Some things that I can't do, I'll just hand it over to them and they figure it out for me. So it's great, and technology is amazing, and technology is going to be growing and becoming more important in the school board and supporting individuals.
Are there any apps in particular that you like? I use sometimes the talking giraffe.
Okay.
I find some of my students like that it's a talking animal, and then, you know, they could talk to him and he repeats what they said. Is there anything that you find you like to use?
Not in particular, but there are many apps that are for students with daily schedules and learning different routines, and there's visuals, you can use visuals, and with some apps that they have out there, you can manipulate it the way that you want it. So with some students who can read, you can put words on it, as opposed to students who cannot read and cannot identify words. You use picture symbols on that.
So from what I'm hearing, you're saying that applications is the way to go right now with teaching. And like I said, the Peel Board has actually in the past couple of months, they've launched their BYOD. It's not bring your own, you know what, it's bring your own device. So it's amazing because now students who use their devices at home can now bring it to school. Teachers could kind of partner up with families at home and say, hey, this is what we're doing at school, this is what you could do at home. So anything else, last minute, you want to add about this show and how it's going to benefit maybe the students you work with?
The applications, well, it's a growing thing. Technology is growing, it's just becoming better. As you said, you can go from home to school to the community, so this one device students can carry around, as opposed to having a whole book that they used to have in the past that has their picture symbols and their different schedules on. So using applications is the tomorrow of education and the world.
Good ending point. And right after our break, we are actually going to hit the Peel streets and ask residents, do you see the benefit in applications such as the ones we were talking about for individuals who have disabilities? Join us. You can tweet me at Ms.Jam's PCCS if you want to get involved in the conversation. We want to hear your take. Thank you for tuning in to Voice for All. We'll see you right after our break. Welcome back to A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble. If at any point you'd like to get involved in the discussion, feel free to tweet me at Ms.Jam's PCCS. I would love to hear from you. And speaking of hearing from you, lately we've been in the streets, on the Peel community, asking you, the residents, the questions of the week. If you ever see us out around the community, please do not be camera shy. We love to hear what you have to say. And thank you to the individuals who have taken a few minutes out of their day to answer our questions. This week, we asked individuals, do you see the benefit of applications such as the iPad or other tablets for people with disabilities? There was a wide range of responses from the viewers, or sorry, the residents. A lot of people felt that there was a benefit, and there was a few people who weren't too clear. What do you think? Do you have a cousin or a neighbor, or perhaps you're an educator yourself who uses applications? Do you feel there is a benefit? Let us know. Ms. Jam's PCCS. Let's get the conversation going. After this segment, we'll have our guests and get their expert advice on this segment as well. So once again, the question is, do you see the benefit in applications on tablets for individuals who has a disability? Like I said, you could tweet me, Ms. Jam's PCCS, and I would love to hear what you have to say. But let's hear what you, the residents, had to say on the Peel streets.
In terms of educational apps for people with learning disabilities, there was some information that I learned at school last year about how a lot of new smartphones and technology for people that have a visual impairment, they can't use touchscreens, that people just seem to write off, and now everything has touchscreens, and there needs to be some kind of way of like helping people that can't use this technology, what's everywhere, be able to use them a lot.
The apps can help them, and it's useful to a lot of people, even if you don't have a disability. So yeah.
Anything we could do to help people with disability is great, right? To incorporate them into the community, right? If there's anything we could do to educate them or make life easier for them, it's good.
Anything that helps people read or write better is all the benefit to everybody.
Special applications for people who have learning disabilities. We've come across a lot of people in our industry where in our store we've seen a lot of people that have disability, and we believe that they need some extra support.
With the iPad, there's apps like Dragon speech to text. So if someone has a disability, they can just really elaborate with their thoughts without having to use their hands, or if they have just a learning disability that prevents them from just letting their ideas flow, they can just talk and talk and talk and then pick out what the ideas are that work for them.
And thank you to the residents that we had the opportunity to speak to. They all had fantastic feedback on the benefits for individuals who have disabilities, and whether it's smartphones, tablets, specialized applications. We have to understand that even though people may have their differences and things may be difficult for them, that doesn't mean that they don't have the right to be a part of our community, to communicate with one another, to find other means to learn or to understand what's going on around them. And that is the beauty of specialized applications. There are so many benefits for individuals who may have visual impairments or speech impairments or a learning disability, for them to feel included. And the key word here is modification. Thanks to these apps that are out there in our community and the way they've modified things for these individuals, it's phenomenal what can be done now. I've actually had a few students who are nonverbal, and we've had applications where they're able to communicate their needs to us. Years ago, that wasn't possible, and now it is. So if you ever see us on the street and we're asking for your feedback, please join us in front of the camera. Do not be camera shy. Let's hear what you have to say. And thank you to those people who mustered up the courage and let us know what they had to say as well. If you want to get involved in the conversation, Ms. Jam's PCCS is my Twitter. After our break, we're going to have two phenomenal guests who are going to talk about the benefits of specialized apps, and they actually have created their own application that is geared for children who have autism. If you want to ask us any questions, Ms. Jam's PCCS, and this is A Voice for All. I'm your host, Jamila Gamble, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back to The Voice for All. I am your host, Janila Gamble. If you are just tuning in, shame on you. Should have tuned in about 10 minutes ago. This week, our episode is about special apps for individuals who have disabilities. Perhaps you are a parent, educator. You may be an individual yourself, and this is the show for you if you have questions about specialized apps on our tablets, which is the new craze, especially here in the Peel region with the Bring Your Own Device. So we have two special guests here from Special Appucations, Sarah and Nancy. Thank you for being on The Voice for All.
Thanks for having us.
Ooh, in sync too. I like that. So let's begin. Tell us a little bit about your background. Nancy, you want to start?
Yep, I'm actually Sarah.
Sarah,
That's okay, no worries. I've been working with children with autism for 15 years, and Nancy, we have combined 30 years experience doing applied behavior analysis, which is the gold standard in therapy for them. And we both have our masters in applied behavior analysis and from masters in psychology with a specialty in applied behavior analysis. And we've been so fortunate to work with them, and we see how effective it is. And so we thought, why don't we use what we know really works in person and put it into this app, which is ABA Find It, the first one that we've made. So
wonderful. So what inspired you? Did you see that there was a need? Did you want to enhance what you were teaching your students?
It's such an exciting field to be in because we get to work with kids, teaching them all kinds of different skills, and we see it working, and that's awesome. The heartbreaking part about it is that it's the limited accessibility to it.
Right.
You need one-to-one workers, lots of supervision. It's wonderful, but there's long wait lists for it. And so what really inspired us was, here's awesome technology that can work with these kids, but how can we bring it to the masses? How can we make it more accessible? How can we enhance those that are getting treatment, enhance their treatment, and get it out to more individuals? And so that's where we thought, why don't we have the technology marrying the science and start to create these apps?
And for a lot of these children, I'm sure you could agree, they love technology. The minute they see a smartphone or an iPad, it's like they're ready to do whatever you ask them to do. So that was genius, I guess, on your part to see that ABA is such a, like you said, like a wait list for some of these parents. So tell me about Stanley. Who's Stanley?
Well, he's our little elephant, and he basically provides the reinforcement or the reward for getting correct responses and helps the children move along within the application. So it makes it really fun. We hired an animator who's really, really good, and we spent a lot of time trying to make it really fun and have the character be something that they would really want to gravitate to.
So the name Special Appucations, tell me a little bit more about that. How did that come to be?
Well, the idea behind it is really we wanted to, again, go back to that science, use all those really cool, awesome strategies, and make it more accessible to individuals who have special needs. So we thought, there's an educational component to it, so that's the education meets applications for appucations. And we do it for kids who have special needs, so it's Special Appucations.
Now, is it just geared to children with autism, or is it welcome other individuals as well?
Definitely. So it's available for anybody who has any learning disability, really, that would be able to benefit from it, because we based it on the best way to teach. And so if they have a deficit within, so this teaches, it's a basic vocabulary builder. So within different categories, they're learning to identify animals, fruits and vegetables, and grains and things like that. And so it's taught in a way that we know will maximize their learning.
So I'm sure the most important testimonial is from the children themselves. So what has their reaction been to Stanley and your apps?
So the awesome thing is getting to watch kids play this app, right? So, because we spent a lot of time on the animation component to it, it's super motivating for them. So you watch these kids playing, they're learning, they don't even know they're learning.
That's the best part.
That's the awesome part. There's the repetition built in, which is what they need. The cool thing is it's portable, they can take it anywhere, so they could be learning in the car, they could be learning when they're waiting for, a doctor's appointment.
And that's the key thing with ABA, right, is applying it in different environments.
Right. And it's fun. So, the reaction is the laughter, wanting to go back to it, play it again. I've seen kids, play with it, all day long, literally, and it's their choice. When they have breaks, they choose to go to that, which is awesome.
And in their minds, they're probably thinking, oh, this is a game,
right.
my teacher's letting me play a game, but really they're benefiting out of it. So the key question here is, especially in this field, parents have so many costs for things, from therapy to workers. How much is this app?
It's on sale on iTunes for $3.99. So you can get it through iTunes or through our website.
Can you imagine that? $3.99.
It's like a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Literally, cheaper than Starbucks, too.
Cheaper than Starbucks,
But
exactly.
that is beautiful in the sense that I work with a few families, and they always feel that they have to throw out hundreds of dollars just to get the best quality, programming or activities for their children. Here for $3.99.
Yeah, so we wanted to make it accessible, right? That's the cool thing. So it doesn't replace treatment. Kids still need all that extra support and help, but we hope that this will enhance their education, treatment goals that they have, whatever it may be, and for a good price.
That's the part that I'm really chiming into here, is the good price. Especially being a teacher myself, we're always trying to be cost efficient in the school, trying to figure out, okay, is this an app that we want to buy? So that is really good that you guys created this. Now, what are parents, some of the families you work with, what are their thoughts on this app?
Again, great reactions from them too, in terms of they love the fact that it's just so easy.
Yes.
Right? The kids enjoy it. And for the families, we're hearing things like it's helping expand their vocabulary. So they're noticing the benefits of the kids playing with it while the kids are having fun.
So how does a parent track their child's progress? Is there a tool built in that allows them to...
Yep, so built in within the tool, it tells them how well they're doing within each section. So there's actually levels built into it as well. So they have to reach a certain criteria before they move on to a more complex level.
Okay.
And so they have to reach that criteria, and if they don't, there's other things built in to help them get to that level, and then they get there independently, and then they move into a more complex level. And the parents can track it through what we call the progress report, which is in there. So.
And that's something that they could bring to their teachers or speech and language,
For sure.
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Basically, it just tells them what is the percentage that their kids got things right in each category.
Right.
Yeah, so it's easy for them to track. And it tells them, did they learn it or do they have to try it again to practice it some
Now,
more?
one thing I've noticed on some of the apps I've worked with a few of my students is that when they get the answer wrong, I've actually seen a few apps that puts a big X like on the screen, and I'm a little taken back by that. So how do you show the child that they got the answer incorrectly, but not really tarnishing, how they're feeling about their work?
Well, that's something that's well documented in the literature too, about how to do what's basically called error correction. So if they make an error, you don't want to make it too fun, because you don't want them to make errors on purpose either, right? So Stanley just does a little head shake to let them know, because they want to have that feedback that they got it wrong. They need to try again, and so they try again, and they get a little bit of extra help, and then eventually they're doing it again without the extra help.
So is there an age group that this app focuses on, or is it open to maybe adults who have developmental disabilities?
Great question. So our goal is, really to create a suite of apps that will help address the needs across different age groups. This particular one, because of the animation component, I would say is more for younger kids. So anywhere, as young as 2 years old. Depends where they are developmentally, but even like 8, 9-year-olds I've seen use it. So anywhere within that age range, they sort of, if they like the more cartoonish animation type things, this is going to be appealing to them.
Perfect. And from what I'm hearing, what makes me so happy to hear the most is that these two women here have a background in this field. They're not necessarily individuals who decided, hey, let's just make an app because right now this is the booming business. These women come with the background, they come with the expertise, they're incorporating ABA, which can be used, quite frankly, for any child, disabled or not. The components of ABA, you see the results. So to know that there's now an application along with Special Appucations and Stanley, I see the amount of children who could benefit from this, and from parents that I've worked with, I know it's takes a bit of stress off their shoulders, knowing that, you know what, maybe I may not have the time to sit and do these things with my child, but now there is something that my child could work independently. Any last minute things you'd like to add about your services?
Just stay tuned we have a whole bunch of ideas coming out in the future with some new ones, because we really like to develop a whole bunch. There's so much that can be done. As you know, in applied behavior analysis, we can teach all kinds of things.
Yes.
So we're looking forward to creating some new ones. If anybody wants to know anything more about it, they can go to the website, specialappucations.com.
And websites at the bottom. And if you have any ideas, maybe you're a parent and you go, hey, I've noticed this with my child, maybe this is something you guys need to try, feel free to tweet me at Ms.Jam's PCCS. I'll be sure to pass along the info. And visit their website. Their website is absolutely phenomenal. The information is there for you. You could have it with your child. Create that educational relationship. So let's thank Special Appucations. Thank you, Sarah and Nancy. It was a pleasure having you on the show. I wish you the best of luck with your apps, and I'm sure it's going to touch many children's lives. You're watching A Voice for All. I'm Jamila Gamble. We'll see you after the break. Thank you for tuning into A Voice for All. I am Jamila Gamble. If at any point you want to get involved in our discussion, you could tweet me at Ms.Jam's PCCS. We just had two amazing individuals from Special Appucations, Sarah and Nancy. Once again, we're going to give them a big thank you. Thank you for being on our show. Their information was so valuable because right now we are in the century of technology. You see everybody walking around with their tablets, and this is the way that students are learning. So it was relieving and refreshing to hear that there's new apps that are being created for students who have disabilities. If you are a parent and you are looking for an app that might be beneficial to your child, feel free to get in touch with me, msjams.pccs@gmail.com. I'll be delighted to pass along information your way. And going back to our previous guests, Sarah and Nancy, they were stressing on the point that ABA is incorporated into their applications, and that is so key because you as parents would know, and frontline staff, the benefits of ABA therapy. And now to see that's been incorporated into a fun app that has a talking elephant, I'm sure there's going to be tons of children within our community who are going to love to be using this app. At any point you want to get involved in the discussion, Ms.Jam's PCCS is my Twitter. You could always email me at msjams.pcss@gmail.com. I love to hear your feedback. And on this episode, we really touched home on some key points about the benefits of application, that we're in a era now of technology being the key way that students are learning. If you are looking for more resources, like I said, get in touch with us. I have plenty of information I'd be delighted to share along to you. Once again, if you ever see us in the community, let us know what your thoughts are. This has been A Voice for All. I am your host, Jamila Gamble, and thank you for tuning in.